All right, so for this week's topic, for the throw a dart at a map, I got for the results of my randomization, I got somewhere kind of honestly in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Here's the coordinates, latitude and longitude for that. It's almost kind of directly south of the country of India, and a little bit more closer to Malaysia than it is to the continent of Africa. But here's some info about it. All right, so this is the age of the seafloor. So we're roughly close to this line right here, maybe a little bit more this way, but the average age of the seafloor is roughly, it can be anywhere to 50 to 90 years. Um, this ocean floor over here is typically newer because of this divergent boundary that we have going on between the African plate, the Indian plate. So the African plate, the Indian plate, and then the Australian plate over here. So it's causing a divergent boundary, making the ocean floor newer with the new crust coming up when the plates divide, and the new crust coming up and then forming new ocean floor. All right, so this is a really bad photo. I apologize, but this is the closest I could get to it. So for the underwater elevation, same place, kind of looking over here, there is some slight elevation, but not like too dramatic, I guess. But yeah, mainly low elevations, especially closer to the location here. You can definitely see some higher elevation where the divergent boundary is between them, as well as right there. But mainly, it's almost closer to here, which you can see a little bit of elevation, but it's not too significant. All right, so for the sediment thickness, this is kind of a hard image to look at, but so that's Malaysia right there, and that's the continent, or excuse me, country of India there. But yes, we're kind of looking in the same area again. The depth, um, the sediment thickness is it's not very thick at all. Um, just because of the again with the divergent boundaries and creating new floor. Um, the more closer it is to that boundary, the thinner the sediment is going to be. So yes, so it's mainly roughly it's around the point 0.5 area. Honestly, when looking at it, maybe pushing 1 or 1.5, but yeah. But yeah, the total sediment thickness is roughly around the 0.5 kilometers. All right, so for volcanoes, um, just because due to the area that it is, there's not a whole lot of volcanic action. Um, you can obviously, with the surrounding boundaries, there is some volcanic action, but where my randomization took me roughly in this area, ooh, excuse me, roughly in this area, it's not, yeah, there's not that much volcanic activity there, if little at all. All right, so for the biologic productivity, so the top two here is looking at the chlorophyll concentration throughout different parts of the year. So looking closely here, the chlorophyll activity is slightly more prominent in the more of the summer months of July, August, and September. It's around the it's around the 0.1 to the 0.3 concentration rate there, compared to when looking at the winter months, I guess, if you want to call those. Yeah, the winter months, it's slightly less concentrated compared to when looking at there. There's a lot more green and that tealish color, but yeah, compared to when looking at this, it's more that darker blue, which means less concentration. Okay, so for the nitrate, this one was kind of easier to depict, I guess, because when looking at the summer months compared to the winter months, there is not that much concentration in nitrate, relatively any difference throughout the year. It's basically zero for the concentration levels, but that was more easier to look at. You can slightly see a little bit more concentration towards the land and stuff, but since I'm like dotted like right in the ocean here, there's not that much nitrate concentration at all. All right, so for global distribution of sediments, when looking here, so country of India and just slightly south, more towards Malaysia, it's mainly red clay, maybe a little bit of siliceous clay, but it's prominently red clay. So yeah, that's my presentation.